Welcome to Culture on I-24 News. I'm Yael Listener-Levy. Thank you for being with us. Coming up today, we'll talk to the curator behind Tel Aviv's Illustration Week. And we'll take a visit to Compton in honor of the release of the biopic about rap group NWA. And we'll hear about new releases in world music. The second annual Illustration Week kicks off tonight in Tel Aviv, allowing the general public to get a glimpse of the best works from more than 300 Israeli illustrators in 40 different exhibits around the city. Yuval Sar, the curator and initiator of Illustration Week, is here in studio to tell us all about it. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So what is Illustration Week?
Illustration Week is a gathering of, as you said, more than 300 illustrators in 40 exhibitions around Tel Aviv, exhibiting the best illustration of Israel, not only from Tel Aviv, of course. Many sorts of exhibition, from something that people are talking about themselves, about their childhood, about other things, I don't know, eating or any other subject. And could be one illustrator who's talking about queer boys growing up in the suburbs, another one doing opening a gift shop in a hotel and doing illustrations, a celebration.
But why focus solely on illustrators? Is it because they've been, overlooked perhaps in the world of art and design, or is there something special that we need to know about illustrators in particular?
Yeah, first of all, I'm jealous of all the illustrators, and since I'm the one behind it, so I decided to do an illustration week. But seriously, yes, as you said, it's a field that usually people don't understand, don't know really what it is. Usually they would say, what is it? Is it comics? Is it books for children? Is it something else? And here we're showing the variety of illustration from design and commercial to one of the fine arts and all the things in between. You
mentioned children's books, and I admit I'm guilty of the same perception. When I think of an illustrator, I immediately think of all the children's books I read and the great illustrations there. And I'm wondering now, in today's digital world, is that classic illustration of books and of narratives and so forth, is that a thing of the past with the digital graphics and so forth?
No, it's still relevant. Still, children love children books all over the world, even in the digital age. Maybe one day all the digital would be, all the illustration would be only digital in, I don't know, iPad apps or Kindle.
Right. They'll use a platform, but
it is a platform. The computer, it's a platform. You still need an illustrator behind it that, I don't know what's happening in their head, going through the hand, and it doesn't matter if the hand picks a pencil or drawing with a mouse.
You are focusing on Israeli illustrators, and the question is really, can you categorize Israeli illustrators versus illustrators from other parts of the world?
I don't think we can categorize, I don't know, American or British or French. And if we do it, it'd be usually a bit of a cliche, like Japanese food or, I don't know, German design. Maybe you can spot if you're an Israeli because you would see something in Hebrew.
Right.
Or
you can identify it as a viewer.
Or maybe you would see, I don't know, the blue and white stripes on the streets of Tel Aviv, or the red and white. But today we can see Israeli illustrators that win and competitions all over the world. There's not a single important competition in illustration around the world that we don't see. Sometimes dozens of Israeli winners.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Because when you think also about illustration versus other forms of art, illustration really kind of depicts a vivid part of reality that maybe other parts of fine arts don't really try to. I mean, when I, as a viewer, look at an illustration, I'm trying to understand what the illustrator wanted to convey and a message. Doesn't the political or social reality that we're living here in Israel impact those illustrators?
It depends. It depends. Usually, when the illustrators have to respond to, I don't know, an article in a newspaper or a comic, so this is where it opens. This is where it gets in. But in other forms, I think maybe you can spot something, but we can't say it's very political because, as you said before, it's a digital word, it's a global word, and people around here working with France, South Korea, England, Philippines, United States, all over the world, people over here are doing the job. So it doesn't have to be Israeli or local even.
Right. So we said almost more than 300 illustrators. Yes. Is this a booming industry? Is it growing each year, or is this a very tight-knit community that you can't really
No,
get
no,
in?
it's booming. It's growing every year.
Why?
I think because of the digital age, everybody these days can illustrate more easier than before. Even I, when I haven't got the skills, I can take a mouse and a computer and do something which would be better if I do it only with my hand.
Right.
So everybody can do things that are better. Of course, you have to be wise and smart to do something very good. But I think another thing is YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, digital age. We can see everything that goes around the world. All the world can see what's going on here only when you open a computer or a laptop or an iPhone.
So Illustration Week is not only for us, the viewers, to take a look at the illustrations, but we can also hands-on work.
Of course.
What workshops are there going to be this week?
It was kind of workshop, one for kids tomorrow, one with silk prints. You can have many sorts of images that you can silk print and do it after that on a T-shirt or a bag. What else? We can have this Saturday and the Saturday after with Urban Sketchers, which is a global organization. We have an Israeli people that are part of it.
Right.
And we're going in the streets for a quick sketch. You can do whatever you want. After 2 hours, we gather together, and everybody can see whatever we did.
So no prior experience is necessary.
Yes.
So this is the second time you're going to hold it. Do you believe there's going to be a thirst or a quench for more and more every year?
Of course. We already have the dates for 2016 and 17 with the municipality of Tel Aviv, which is a very big part of it. And of course, everybody who said to me, what do I have to be part? Can I do now? I said, 2016.
And maybe this time you can replicate what you're doing here in Tel Aviv into more cities around the world.
Yes.
There's definitely, I think the illustrators there would be happy to have a week dedicated to them.
Yeah, there are not many. I'm not familiar with a single one illustrating week around the world. So let's do it.
So there you go. Spearheading the way. Yuval Sal,
Yes.
thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
The birthplace of a number of prominent hip-hop artists portrayed in the movie Straight Outta Compton has been working hard to transition into a new era with more jobs and less crime. But some worry now that the success of the film might tarnish Compton's new image. Here's more in this report.
Music history began here in Lonzo Williams' house. The producer discovered Dr. Dre, one of the founding members of NWA.
This is where we spent most of our time back in the day.
When the group recorded some of their first songs here in the 1980s, Lonzo didn't realize they would become pioneers of gangster rap.
They were able to adapt to the characters and convince people that it worked. Dre's music helped a lot. Dre's music was probably the backbone of it. You could have danced to a Ku Klux Klan membership to Dre's music. It was so good.
Just like the members of NWA, Joe Brown and Messiah Minters were born in Compton and grew up listening to the group's sounds.
It's entertaining, it's fun, it's danceable, if you will. Your fingers are popping, and at the same time you're hearing these amusing or horrific or inspiring or motivational stories.
It's a cold world, nigga, bring a bomber jacket. If it's another hustle out there.
NWA songs described the daily violence in Compton at the time, but today the city has changed. While gang activity still exists, the number of homicides has significantly decreased, going from 86 in 1989 to 7 this year.
You can come to this community, you can buy a house at below property value and live good. But because of the image that it has in the media, everybody thinks that it's a war zone.
So yeah, this is Project West.
For historian Craig Everett, Compton's negative image may be tied to NWA, but the group has opened doors for artists that would otherwise be closed.
But musically, this was happening everywhere in Los Angeles, but the focus became on Compton because NWA did so good. So then other people that were doing the music for Compton, now the door was open for them. If they could represent in Compton, then record labels felt like, hey, that's the place.
The place where gangster rap was born, but where the biopic can't be screened. Despite its rebirth, the city still lacks a movie theater, so residents will have to catch Straight Outta Compton out of Compton.
Out of Compton, Brazilian millionaire Bernardo Paz has dedicated his life to turning a vast outdoor park of tropical rainforest into one of the most original museums in the world by filling it now with contemporary art. But today, Brazil's economic crisis threatens to challenge this dream. Here's more.
In this park, art falls out of the trees. Welcome to Inhatim, Latin America's largest open-air museum, but the tropical rainforest serves as a canvas for contemporary art. Located in the heart of Brazil's mining region of Minas Gerais, and far from Rio or Sao Paulo's collector scene, this unique gallery exhibits close to 5,000 different plants, as well as the works of 200 international artists.
You walk around the art, you have time and you really appreciate the environment, as well as the works on show. And the park is gorgeous.
This garden of art is the oversized dream of Bernardo Paz, a mining magnate whose home is on site. The complex opened to the public 8 years ago and attracts almost 500,000 visitors every year. But even on these idyllic hills, there's no way to escape Brazil's current economic gloom. Since iron ore prices slumped last year, Paz has had to tame his ambitions for the park and still directly finances a quarter of its budget.
I was going to keep growing in Inhatim at the same speed, but my industries which give me the resources to keep the process going are in a complicated situation. China, which used to buy part of my production, doesn't have the same growth either. Prices have gone down a lot, so I've had to slow down the park's development.
Times may be harder, but Inhatim remains a driving force for the local economy, as nearby residents otherwise rely almost exclusively on iron ore mines for work. Paz employs some 800 laborers and puts on frequent public art and educational events.
I'm retired, but I have many friends who work at Inhatim. He gives people work.
Paz is looking for corporate sponsors and plans to continue expanding with new galleries and a first boutique hotel. Despite its financial woes, it seems like Brazil's unique jungle museum is here to stay.
And Daniel Campos is here with the latest headlines from world music. Daniel.
Hello, Yael. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, we have indeed some very interesting releases. It's funny we put these in the category of world music because in some cases, like the Hindi Sahra, which we're going to start out with, you might say it sounds a bit indie. She's actually from a Moroccan Berber background.
Okay.
So again, we judge her in the category of world music. That's actually one of the problems that, you know, musicians from third world countries go into the category of world music.
Even though there's nothing really that ties them together, there's no common denominator, really.
Not always, not always. So let's have a listen from her new album, Homeland.
Let's take a look. She's completely reminds me of, you know, the Moroccan Lana Del Rey. Same kind of style, same look. Definitely. I don't know if I'm insulting her. I'm not trying to. But it's a beautiful song, actually.
Yeah, and the musical aesthetics, and she sings in English, she also sings in French. We also have a very big hit right now in radio here in Israel. Also, we can say on YouTube it's a very big hit by, what's it called? Chaim Laroz, excuse me, that's the name of the musician. An Israeli musician. He took a Sudanese folk song and he did his own cover. Mixing Hebrew with Arabic, Rechela on the vocals. Laila Laila is the name of the song.
Let's take a listen.
القمر بيضوي وانا شنبلاني بالنجوم القمر بيضوي وانا شنبلاني بالنجوم القمر ضوى وانا شنبلاني بالنجوم القمر بيضوي وانا شنبلاني بالنجوم وتغنوا يا سلام سعادة لنا دوم غنوا يا سلام سعادة لنا
interesting combination. Israeli, Sudanese, in Israel. She has an American passport, you told me.
Indeed.
Wow.
Yeah, Rachela performs a lot in the United Arab Emirates. In many of the countries, she's well received, although she's Jewish. Her American passport gets her in. And this is with Chaim Laros. And the name of the album is Desert Group. It will be out this year.
And it's especially relevant with all, of course, the issues in Tel Aviv with it kind of combines all the different kinds of issues in one beautiful song.
Indeed, filmed in South Tel Aviv.
There you go. So it makes it even more relevant. Daniel Campos, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Yad.
That's all for today. You can join us again next week, of course, for more culture here at i24 News. And visit us on our website, i24news.tv. We'll see you soon.